Hello and welcome everyone to My Child First Talking Tuesday. Um, Hi everyone who are joining us now and would be looking at it in the future. Ruth, hi. Um, we are happy to back. Hi Anshika. We're happy to be back. We did take a break and it's been 20, I think it was a good milestone to take a break. I think it was about 26 weeks. Hi Tanvi, and my dear friend Tanvi is here. If you're surprised to see me hosting it, well, today it is about music, but it's also about sound. I will tell you about that in a moment. Let's get Tanvi to come. Oh, here she is. And so, do you want to just very briefly tell our listeners why I am hosting it and you are my guest?
Well, it's
Considering that it's
always
musical and sound, and so here we are.
right, absolutely. So I've had a very musical morning, with some drilling work going on in our, condominium. So, and hence I thought maybe if it is too disturbing, Divya can just do this bit on her own. So, and hence I requested her to do it, using our official handle, and I'm joining it as Tanvi for the first time. So, yes, welcome everyone. And we are so glad uh, to be here after taking 1 week break, which we have been hosting our Talking Tuesdays for the last almost, I don't even have the count now,
Half
maybe
a year,
26,
half a
27.
year, half a
Yeah,
year.
so it's almost a half a year. We've been, going live with different topics. We've had requests and suggestions which keep coming to us, to take up different topics. So, and we are so glad that, we keep getting feedback on our, topics for Talking
But
Tuesdays. So if
honestly,
you,
I missed it. I missed it.
absolutely.
It
So,
seems like it's been such a long time.
correct. It seemed like a really long time because we love, being here. This is
Chatting.
one of our, weekdays. We really look forward to, firstly getting dressed, which we usually do every day. But a special effort is made, and there is like a, happiness on the face that we'll be going live and, talking about something which might just add meaning to a few people's life. So here we are.
Yes. So what we've been doing so far is we've taken the model of multiple intelligences by Gardner, and we brought in our own very own twist to how preparation for birth can be done through these pathways. So we are looking at these different intelligences as different pathways, and we're thinking, okay, let me see how I can utilize these pathways to kind of prepare. And we've done two already. One was the bodily or kinesthetics, and the other one that we did was visual or spatial. And today we are bringing in the musical intelligence. So musical intelligence is not like it's not rocket science. It means music, and so here we are. And with music, what else comes to mind? So music generally has a rhythm, it has an amplitude, and it has a pattern, and these are repetitive. And then we can tune into these patterns. So if, say, there is a certain pattern and rhythm to music, and there is an odd note, you don't have to be an expert in music to say, oh, that was really off. Or if the beat is a little bit higher than what the regular rhythm is, or what is comfortable, again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a musical scientist or a sound engineer to say, oh, that's not okay. There is a certain response in our body that comes as we hear music, especially to music, which includes emotions, which includes uh, tapping into like a feeling, which has a certain rhythm, which brings movement to the body. So we are going to use all these elements for our birth preparation. So first and foremost, music. It's very simple. It's right in your face. You can use music as preparation by bringing it to your relaxation practices. So you could choose to do a short guided relaxation along with music. And you can start even to make associations of certain music and begin to see what kind of state you might want to be in. And here's the relevance to it. So, when I teach a childhood class, we talk about stages of labor, but we don't talk of them like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. We talk of it as something that your body does. There's a purpose to why the rhythm of your labor is like that over a period of time. And so
Right.
think if I were to be talking about early labor, one of the key things we say in early labor, and everybody says stay at home, but one of the key things we say is that because the contractions are far apart and they're really short. It's the intervening time that you need to distract yourself. Because if your mind starts to go, oh my God, is this labor? When is the next contraction coming? How long will it take? How painful it is? That might just take you on a completely different roadmap than what labor may be. And so in good old times, people did housework. Even now, the advice says stay at home as long as possible. But that's just words. When you stay at home, what should we be doing? Because it's your state of mind that directly affects your labor. So, what could you be doing? And I would say find strategies that would make you distracted from just paying attention to next contraction. And so, also, if you are going about your daily business, adding music to it, staying with the rhythm of it, bring in some movement. So, you can choose music that's a little bit active, engaging, purposeful. And then, as labor progresses further or moves forward and it becomes more strong, you want, or well, nature does that, you don't want to. Nature will bring your attention back inside. Now, that's going to be very interesting because that's when the outside distraction needs to be cut away and get into the feel of that relaxation. So your music can then be something that calms you down, that allows you to focus. Maybe you use it for meditation, maybe you use it for guided imagery, whatever you may want to use it for. And if you've already been doing that, if you've been exercising to some music, if you've been moving in the house to some music, if you've been relaxing with some music, this musical repertoire becomes a tool for labor. So that could be one of the ways you could look at music. But let's not just stop at what is right in front of us. The more important thing that we talk about is rhythm. So there are, life is rhythm. We are cyclic in nature. The most simple way to understand is our fertile cycles are all rhythmic. But also our wake and sleep cycles are rhythmic. Our hunger and satiation cycles are rhythmic. Our activation and deactivation cycles are rhythmic, which means if we are sitting for too long, we want to get up and stretch ourselves, move around. If we are moving for a long time or standing, we want to sit down. So there is a sense of up and down, waxing, waning rhythm in our daily life. And what if we start to pay attention to that from right now? And because we are quite capable of looking at rhythms and patterns, we firstly will get to know our own pattern. And with our patterns, if we start to look at the patterns of the baby, so the baby also has rhythms, which could also include sleep and waking rhythms. So movements at some time and then no movements at some time. And that will give you a sense of how this baby's day is going. And once you start to tune into it, towards the end, people are worried. So one of the ways
Divya,
of
I'm just
settling your body.
interrupting you. I'm going to drop out because there's just too much of background noise for me. I'm not able to hear you. So I'll be in the background hearing you. And
Okay.
if there are any questions,
Okay.
I'll post them on the in the
Okay.
chat box.
All right. Okay. Okay. So, well, I guess that was a disturbing rhythm in her background, which she didn't want to. She couldn't focus to the flow of my words with that distraction. So, where was I? I was saying that if you get into the rhythm of your baby, then you know the sense of your baby's well being through those internal rhythms, through that connection with that rhythm, rather than evaluations or assessments. And I find that this is called attunement. And this attunement goes a long way when we are, parenting. Attachment is all about attunement. It's all about understanding. So you may first see a flutter of movement, then you might see some patterns emerge. Then those patterns may change during pregnancy as the baby grows and evolves. And then the baby comes with those patterns to this world, and that might tell you a little bit about their nature. about whether they are active or not, whether the times they are active or not, or their responses to certain things in your life. So, what is your baby's rhythm when you're hearing that good music? What is your baby's rhythm when you're relaxing? What is your baby's rhythm when you eat and the kind of food you eat? So, you are now tuning in to a general, let's say, a general pattern of life for yourself and for the baby. And you'll find that the baby absolutely is responsive to your pattern. And if you pay attention, you will also become responsive to them. Think about what parenting may be after birth if you are already attuned to the baby's pattern. You're not trying to fit the baby into your life because you're already fitted together. You're not trying to give up your own life for the baby, again, because the baby is also taking the cues from you. Of course, there's a very big difference that the baby's nervous system is not self regulatory. So you're taking the bigger part of regulating them. But yes, there is a system that comes together. And so that could another way of looking at your rhythmic intelligence to prepare for birth. And every time I say prepare for birth, it isn't always about labor and birth. It is about birth and beyond. So, when you keep in mind, I'd like to talk about the continuity of your life's journey, starting from, pregnancy or even before. I mean, let's not forget that. But through birth and then into parenting, and there's kind of a fitting together for people. And so this is another way of looking at rhythms. Another preparations through rhythm is to look at the contraction and the patterns of contractions. So nature, because it's rhythmic in nature, will have patterns that you can tune into, whether it's seasons, whether it's day and night. You know how things work. There will be a rhythm and a pattern to it. And labor is a testament of nature's patterns. So the contractions, one of the ways we defined real labor from false labor, though there's nothing what's false, there's nothing false. You're not experiencing something. And the real labor, in its definition, is a rhythmic nature. So when you're feeling that there is a rhythm, then you know that this body is now showing you signs that it's moving forward. How does that rhythm change? Ideally, in labor, the rhythm accelerates or intensifies. And we know that it started from here like a well orchestrated, what do you say, sequence of music. It'll pick up slowly and then build up. That's labor. And then when you hear that little sound in the middle that says, okay, I'm having a labor pattern that goes one strong contractions, 2 minutes later, one short one. Then 10 minutes later, a strong one, 2 minutes later, a short one. That's also a pattern. That's asymmetric pattern. What can that mean? That in itself gives us a lot of cues about what your body is showing you so that you can do something to support it. But if you're seeing rhythm in your contraction, then you just have to be with it and there's nothing to do. So the guide of when do I lead and when do I follow also comes from these patterns. So, understanding that a break of harmony could be I need you to do something because I'm unable to now do this by myself. And it could be taking a position because the baby may need some support moving in that pelvis. It could be, saying that you need to do something, pay attention, which could be you've not eaten, you're not hydrated, there is an emotional anxiety coming up. So the pattern of your labor contractions is also a conversation your body and your baby are having and presenting to you in a language which is not neocortical. But then birth isn't neocortical. So that is another thing. So here's a way to bring it into your life. So you're adding music, you're looking at your own patterns. You can also observe patterns of thought, you know, and it's an interesting exercise in mindfulness that you say for the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to observe my thoughts and put them down on a paper. I thought about, and it could be to do with birth, it could do with, and you're going from, okay, at birth will be present, and then your mind just shifts automatically, unconsciously, involuntarily to a relationship, and then something else, and some pressure you felt. So you can list out those thoughts. You can see how your brain pattern is. And then you can start to even give it categories if you want, saying this is a strength, this is a challenge. I'm not using the word weakness because words are really, really important. So strength and challenges, what do you do? Common sense, you build your strengths and you work your challenges. And so instead of finding the problems now, which have been rattling in your brain, you could actually start to think, okay, these are my strengths, this will work, and let me practice them a little bit more. Whether that strength is about making decisions or it is about, you know, choosing who will be there in birth with you or about asking questions of your caregiver. These are your strengths. But if those are not your strengths, say, I'm afraid to talk to my care provider, that's a challenge for you. So then you could start to say, okay, if I can't talk, can my husband talk? Can a family member talk? Or if this is not each time I go to my doctor and I feel really anxious and I can't say the words, maybe I can tell my partner to find someone else. Or I can look for a support person who I can discuss so that I can look at my options. I shouldn't have to fight with my doctor. That's not where I want to go. I don't want to be in a conflict zone when I'm giving birth. So either they listen to me, or I get somebody to talk, or I fortify or meet this challenge somewhere, and I just eliminate the challenge and find another person who might be able to meet me where I am. So this isn't about right and wrong anymore. This is about how do I move forward? Because no matter who you are and what your nature is, and whatever your challenge is, deep inside you, there is a core of strength. And all you have to do is pay attention to where it's guiding you. So either you will find the resources, well, either you will find the resources of either doing it by yourself or finding a way to have it done. It doesn't matter which. And then the biggest resource there could also be your understanding of the situation and making the most of it. But that is very much within you. And looking at these patterns within you outside will help you identify them, slow them down. By paying attention to them, you'll be able to hold or pick out the discordant notes in the music, in your life, in the baby's music movements, in labor patterns, and in your own thought processes. And finally, we're going to bring together kinesthetics, which we've already done, and also spatial with music. And the most beautiful way of preparing with these three intelligences working together is dance. So if you can find moves that you enjoy to the music that you enjoy, let yourself go because everybody in labor says just let go. So let yourself go. Get some practice of letting go and move your body to the music. Find your orientation, which is again how you are spatially oriented. That each day would be such a fun activity. Wonderful, happy hormones flowing through you, baby getting a sense of your balance and movement, and you understanding, enjoying music and letting go. So here, I think I spoke too fast because there's a lot of stuff on my mind. But when I was thinking about musical intelligence as a pathway to preparing for birth, I just found that there is so much that came to me, and I just wanted to put it all out there. So here we are, musical intelligence. Okay, Tanvi, I know you're here. So do we have questions? Do we have? There are a lot of people waving at us, so I'm going to wave right back at everybody. Um, thank you. Wow. Right. I'm just going to pause for a bit so that if anybody has a question, a thought, a comment, we'd love to hear from you. No, yeah, so I just wanted to recap what I said really slowly in the end, but I'm quite done right now. In that, I'm going to use some music to do a small relaxation. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's an interesting research about how babies are listening and remembering in the womb. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit. Thank you for reminding me. That was on my mind. So, in Thomas Verney's book, he's talking about this guy who is the conductor of an orchestra. And as he's playing a new piece and he's rehearsing with his group, as he's playing, he knew what the next notes of the cello was. Now, he's never heard this piece of music before. It's in front of him on a paper. He's conducting the music. And then there is a piece, a bit in that piece where the cello is there. And as he's going into that piece, he already knows what those notes are. And it was quite surprising for him. And his own mother is a cello player. And when he talks with her, she tells him that, you know, when the womb, when I was carrying you, I used to practice this piece many, many times because I had a performance at that time. And this baby, can you imagine? Um, there is no neocortical structure. So the place in the brain that takes in experiences and converts it into memories that we can talk about. Oh, I remember, or this is my shopping list, or this is my to-do list, or that was the time, is not yet functionally online. And the baby remembers. That makes us feel what it may be doing. Here's another aspect about patterns. So research says that newborn babies move in the same patterns of their mother's voice. Again, this is again musical intelligence. So, and these are the building blocks of conversation later in life. So, as the mother speaks, the babies will respond either with a hand extension or a foot extension. So, they will move their extremities to the porosity, to the tune or the rhythm of the mother's voice. Again, fantastic example of musical intelligence. There is another one. This was the start of now the organization called APA, Thomas Verney's experience. He was spending some time with some friends who his wife was pregnant. And she would sing to the baby. And she actually wrote to him saying that when the baby was born, when she would sing that song, the baby would actually calm down and pay attention. We know from my own experience, I know when I teach a hypnobirthing course, it has a certain track that our hypnobirthing moms hear every day. And we encourage them to hear it loudly. And many of them report back saying that when the baby cries and we put that track on, the baby calms down. So babies are listening to music, they are remembering, music has a special quality other than verbal because it's involving, and especially if there's lyrics, it involves both sides of the brain. So there are two different parts of the brain that are interconnecting. Okay, I just lost my topics. I had something really significant to say. Yes. So also, if you see, babies' hearts and their bodies and their nervous systems are developing in the influential field of the mother's heart tones. What is a human heartbeat? A human heartbeat is between 60 to 72 beats per minute. And what is a popular music range? And that music is also made between 60 to 72 beats per minute because that's what we have grown with. That's what seems the most joyful. Now, even if I don't want to use the word joyful, because some people associate it with different things. If you want to say that's the most normal range of rhythm that we tolerate in a state of being. And if you speed it up a little bit, our heartbeats go up with it. And if you slow it down, our heartbeats. So introducing babies in utero to music is a great idea. You could go the way of saying that which music really works for them. But I'd also say bring a little bit of your personal flavor to it, saying, this is my favorite music. So if you're dancing already, you're holding your belly and you're touching the baby and you're moving, you're introducing the baby to the kind of music you like. You are introducing them to different rhythms. You're helping them wire their movement or their spatial orientation to a certain rhythm as well. There's a lot of complex stuff that is going on. I always feel that if we begin to break apart each aspect of it, we are actually fragmenting, and we know that the whole is always greater than the sum of the parts. So we may highlight these little aspects, but I'd say a mother's experience of joyful attention to the baby, welcoming the baby, interacting with the baby, connecting with the baby, perhaps is one of the most protective containers that a baby can have, and one of the best foundations for their growth. To be wanted, welcome, paid attention to. I mean, put it yourself in the baby's booties and say, wouldn't we want all of that? So, yes, introducing music to babies is great, but don't get caught up with right music and go with what feels right for you. Because when you hear that music and it's joyful for you, the baby's association to music and joy will be well established. So that's my 2 cents, a little bit more than 2 cents on listening to music or baby's introduction to music. Right. See, this is the time when I miss you, Tanvi. Okay, do you have any comments, any personal stories you'd like to share about music and babies? I do know of women who've used very good. Actually, I had the opportunity to study with Maha Al Musa about belly dancing for birth, and there was somebody with us in that cohort who had actually done belly dancing for birth, for her birth preparation. So that would be one of the pathways as well. Oh dear, now we are. Okay, I'm going to try and be loud now. Okay, if we have no other comments or questions, um, and I will just wait for a message from Tanvi, then that is all I have for you today. Let's see. Hmm, yeah, so I want to just recap it one more time for everyone. If I was too fast, and those who joined us later, we're talking about musical intelligence, and we are going to use it as a pathway to prepare for birth and bringing in music, very specific purpose music, music that lifts you up, identifying music that calms you down, identifying music that brings you peace would be a great tool in your toolbox when you go into labor, because in different phases of labor, you might use different music. Don't get attached to your playlist. Um, you can start to observe rhythms of life for yourself, for the baby, for your thoughts, your emotions. You can also then begin to hear labor patterns of contraction, the variations of contractions as patterns of progress or patterns that tell you do something. And, that would be a very interesting conversation in itself, and then bringing a little bit of element of dance, because then you're combining kinesthetic, spatial, and musical intelligence and giving the baby a fun experience and also for yourself. So here we are on Talking Tuesday, talking about musical intelligence as a preparation pathway for birth. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. We will be back next week again with another pathway that we're going to choose out of multiple intelligences and have another conversation